So the flammable cladding crisis continues. Let's have a look. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. Today I'd like to talk about an article from The Age about homeowners bearing the brunt of flammable cladding on their houses, on the projects that they built, on their apartments. Now, we're all aware of what recently happened down in Melbourne repeatedly with the aluminium cladding. This is another type of cladding. And it's just laughable and sad how this is happening because, you know, the owners, the people who buy these buildings in good faith are going to be the ones stuck bearing the brunt. So let's have a read of this article. 13 days before Christmas, the 33 owners of a block of apartments in Frankston South received a warning that ruined their festive season. Their block of apartments, which is barely 5 years old, posed a danger to life arising out of the conditions of building, according to an emergency order issued by Frankston City Council. The risk of their life and safety was in part due to the use of expanded polystyrene, a type of cladding that is combustible and increases the likelihood of fire spreading more quickly. Expanded polystyrene, which is generally covered with render when used in a building, is allowed under the National Construction Code, but typically not considered safe for use on multi-story buildings. So we can have a look here. We all know what it is. Foam. It's used in a multitude of things, packing, everything, you know. It's an amazing material. And it's also used on buildings, on cladding of buildings. And then they render it. I've used it in a lot of factory buildings. Use it in roofs. You can get stuff that's been treated to be fire retardant and meet certain requirements in the NCC, but I don't think builders would naturally pay for that if they don't need to. See here, look, it's used up high rises. There's examples of it. It's often put in place on the outside of buildings to improve the thermal performance of the walls to meet insulation requirements, like here in Queensland with the energy rating star system. So you're getting, a slightly better thermal performance, but maybe an increased fire risk. A Frankston City Council spokesman said the apartments would not have been compliant at the time they were built. Okay, wow. So I would like to know who the certifier is. I read through the Shergold and Weir report, looking at all the issues in the construction industry and in the assessment process, the fact that there's no checking, and the council, I wonder, why didn't Frankston City Council confirm the certification work that was done by the certifier? Who was the certifier on the job? These are all questions. Damn, I feel sorry for them. Apartment owners were given 7 days to carry out extensive building works. Failure to comply, they were warned, and they faced fines of up to $80,000. So I would retort I would argue, isn't the council being negligent in ensuring that the certifiers are fulfilling their roles? The Victorian Building Authority employed a 24-hour fire warden so residents could stay in their homes while the emergency fire safety measures were addressed. But the biggest shock for owners was learning they would foot the bill for building works, which had already stretched to more than $150,000. We can't afford this. People are going to lose their homes, said Craig Finch, chairman of the Sumaradi Apartment Owners Corporation. Who is going to pay for it? Demanded apartment owner Kerry Old at a tense meeting with VBA and Frankston City Council last month. Well, I would imagine that the body corporate has to sue the developer and the builder and the certifier and try and get them for negligence and get the money off their insurance organizations. If those companies still exist, that's the problem. This is the really hard end of the stick. The deputy head of the VBA statewide cladding audit, Luke Excel, told the meeting. The problem lies with the owners. Shit. 5 years, that's within the defects. Oh, no, it's not within defects liability, but it's within 7 years of the completion of the building. So you could still go the builder for negligence, unless it's different in Victoria. Mr. Excel said Under the Building Act, combustible materials should not have been used in external walls unless there were strict safety systems, like possibly fire sprinklers or wedding sprinklers. But he said a 2017 Supreme Court decision had made it absolutely clear that the VBA did not have the power to direct a builder or building surveyor to fix defective work after an occupancy permit for a building had been issued. Wow. Well, there you go. That just shows you that is stunning, really. So it's a life safety risk, it's defective work. Then what's the point of having the VBA? What is the point of having them at all? I put my super into this. I've got nothing now, Miss Old Data told The Age. I would not have believed that people could be treated like this. You buy a property that is 4 years old and you've got no protection. Mr. Excel told the meeting the main role of the VBA was to hold building practitioners to account. Well, they haven't done it, have they? There's been a lot of criticism of the VBA over recent years, and we have to do better. I would acknowledge there are system-wide issues that have led to this problem. You think? A different type of flammable cladding was used in London's Grenfell Tower, where the fire killed 72 people, a blaze at the Lacrosse buildings in Dockland, and this month's fire at Spencer Street and the O200 apartments. That was aluminium composite cladding as opposed to this type of cladding. A cladding ordered by the Planning Minister, Richard Wynne, in the wake of the Grenfell Inferno, has reviewed more than 2,000 buildings. It has identified 44 private buildings amongst the highest risk of fire and 21 government buildings at higher risk. Michael Buxton, an emeritus professor of planning and environment at RMIT, said property owners were finding themselves in a terrible situation. He accused the state government of washing its hands of responsibility. People in Melbourne are entitled to expect their buildings are safe. It's not like it is Bangladesh, he said. There needs to be a new legal framework to provide a financial solution for this, with the government chipping in. Well, I would argue that no, the government shouldn't chip in. I think the builders, the original, maybe the government should, loan money to fund the lawsuits against these builders and developers. Make it easier for these people to get compensation. I think this is turning out to be one of the greatest scandals we've ever seen in the building industry. A former director of the company that built the Frankston South apartment, Ahmad Farquhar, said the cladding used was fire-rated and considered acceptable at the time. But Mr. Finch said he believed some fire-rated cladding had been substituted with a cheaper, non-compliant product that was flammable. Yes, I bet. Building surveyor Kamran Bashir issued the occupancy permit for the property in 2013. He said the Building Code of Australia's performance requirements did not restrict the use of combustible cladding. We are all waiting for the government to act, Mr. Bashir said. Mr. Wynne said Victoria was leading the country in taking action, including fixing every state government building affected and pushing for a national ban on flammable cladding. We're working with the Cladding Task Force and the VBA to identify where we need to crack down on builders doing the wrong thing, he said. The building systems was there to protect consumers, and we need to strengthen the system. We will. But opposition planning spokesman Tim Smith said Mr. Wynne was refusing to help the Frankston South residents, ensuring that their homes were safe. So, what do you think about this one, guys? Another example, another type of cladding to worry about, cheap render. I really think we need to implement some of these things from the Gold and We report. I really think we need to. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell if you want to see my daily updates. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.